Hey everyone, welcome back to Stoic Saga, where we dive into the powerful lessons of Stoicism. Today's episode is all about how to be valued without saying a single word. In a world full of noise and constant talking, we often forget that actions can speak much louder than words. Through the wisdom of Stoicism, we can learn how to project value, strength, and respect without ever having to say a word. In this episode, we'll cover 11 key principles that will help you present yourself with dignity, set boundaries, and maintain your self-worth, all while remaining silent. By mastering these techniques, you'll see how powerful non-verbal communication can be and how it can transform the way others perceive you. If you find this episode helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your friends and family. Also, be sure to subscribe to Stoic Saga for more content on Stoicism and personal growth. Let's get started. 1. Present yourself with dignity. The way you carry yourself speaks volumes, often far more than words ever could. In Stoicism, dignity is one of the highest virtues, and it's something you can project without uttering a single word. Epictetus said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." This advice emphasizes the importance of knowing your worth and presenting yourself with grace and dignity. How you stand, how you move, and even how you make eye contact all contribute to how others perceive you. It's about embodying a sense of confidence and self-respect. Dignity is not about arrogance or trying to seem superior to others. It's about having a quiet assurance in your own value. When you present yourself with dignity, you show the world that you respect yourself, and by extension, you expect others to respect you as well. Your body language becomes your most powerful tool. Shoulders back, head held high, a calm and focused expression. These subtle cues tell others that you are in control of yourself and your environment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." In other words, don't let negative influences around you shake your sense of dignity. Stay true to your values and let your actions and presence do the talking. A real-life example might be someone walking into a room full of people they don't know. If they enter with confidence, standing tall and moving with purpose, people are more likely to take notice and regard them with respect. The way you carry yourself in these moments can either command attention or fade into the background. The choice is yours, and it's all about how you project dignity in your physical demeanor. Dignity also comes from self-awareness. Knowing your strengths and weaknesses and accepting them without feeling the need to apologize for who you are is key. Stoicism teaches that we should not seek validation from others, but rather live in accordance with our own values. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This applies to how we view our self-worth. Craving approval or recognition from others diminishes your sense of dignity because it places your value in their hands. By grounding yourself in your own principles, you project an air of self-assurance that needs no external validation. A common mistake people make is thinking that to be valued, they need to talk their way into people's good graces or constantly prove themselves. But Stoicism teaches us that true value comes from within. When you exude dignity, you don't need to say anything to be noticed or respected. Your presence alone will command attention. Consider how often people are drawn to those who are calm, composed, and seemingly unbothered by external pressures. These individuals don't need to speak to assert their value. It's written in how they present themselves to the world. One crucial aspect of presenting yourself with dignity is maintaining composure in difficult situations. When others are losing their cool, getting emotional, or acting out of frustration, you can stand firm and calm. This resilience, often referred to as emotional stoicism, allows you to maintain your dignity even in the face of challenges. Marcus Aurelius taught that the only thing within our control is how we respond to events, not the events themselves. Keeping this in mind, you can navigate through any situation with a sense of inner peace and outward grace. Additionally, dignity is reflected in how you treat others. Even in silence, your actions toward others, whether through a kind gesture, a respectful nod, or simply giving someone your full attention, speak volumes about your character. People are naturally drawn to those who treat others with respect and kindness. You don't need to boast about your accomplishments or argue to prove your worth. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." By taking the time to think before reacting, you demonstrate dignity and self-control, which will earn you the respect and admiration of those around you. Dignity is not about perfection. It's about showing up as your authentic self, unshaken by the opinions or judgments of others. By focusing on how you carry yourself through calmness, composure, and grace, you show the world that you don't need to speak to be valued. Your actions, your body language, and your very presence will communicate your worth more powerfully than words ever could. In conclusion, presenting yourself with dignity is the first step in being valued without saying a word. It's about how you carry yourself, how you treat others, and how you remain composed in any situation. The more you practice these Stoic principles, the more others will naturally respect and value you, even in silence. Let your presence be your voice, and let your dignity speak for itself. 2. Know your worth. In Stoicism, one of the most crucial aspects of being valued without having to say a single word is knowing your own worth. The Stoics believed that true confidence and value come from within, not from external validation or approval. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This means that to be valued by others, you must first master the understanding of your own worth. Knowing your worth doesn't require you to announce it to the world. It's reflected in how you carry yourself and the decisions you make. When you know your worth, you don't need to constantly seek approval or try to prove yourself to others. Your actions and choices will naturally align with the belief that you are enough, just as you are. This internal sense of worth shows in how you handle yourself in relationships, work, and everyday life. You're less likely to tolerate disrespect or unfair treatment, not because you've argued or demanded better, but because your boundaries naturally reflect what you believe you deserve. Think of someone who walks into a room with quiet confidence. They don't boast about their achievements, but their energy commands respect. They know their value, and it shows. When you know your worth, you don't settle for less than you deserve, and you don't need to argue or explain yourself. The quiet assurance you carry becomes magnetic. Others can sense that you respect yourself, and they'll treat you accordingly. Stoicism teaches that true value comes from living in alignment with your principles. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you believe in your worth, you make decisions based on what truly matters to you, rather than trying to please others or fit into societal expectations. This authenticity is what makes you valuable, and it speaks louder than words. You don't have to say a thing. Your actions, your self-respect, and your boundaries communicate everything. Knowing your worth also means recognizing that you don't need to be validated by others. Many people struggle with this, constantly seeking praise or recognition to feel valued. But Stoicism reminds us that relying on external validation is a form of slavery. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In other words, stop worrying about what others think of you and focus on your own growth and principles. When you detach from the need for approval, you become unshakable, and others will naturally begin to respect you more because you aren't chasing their validation. One of the most powerful ways to communicate your worth without speaking is through your boundaries. When you know your worth, you don't allow others to overstep your limits. You don't need to explain yourself or justify your decisions. You simply act in a way that reflects your self-respect. For example, if someone is treating you disrespectfully, you can walk away without feeling the need to defend yourself. This silent yet powerful action shows that you value yourself too much to stay in a situation that doesn't honor your worth. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Walking away from disrespect is an act of bravery, and it reinforces your value without you having to say a single word. Another key aspect of knowing your worth is how you handle failure or setbacks. When you know your value, you understand that your worth isn't tied to external successes or failures. Stoicism teaches that we should focus on what is within our control, our actions, our effort, and our principles, and let go of the outcomes. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This inner strength is what defines your worth, not the ups and downs of life. When you know this, you don't need to defend or explain yourself when things don't go as planned. You simply continue living in alignment with your values, and others will respect you for your resilience. Knowing your worth also influences how you interact with others. When you value yourself, you naturally treat others with respect, because you don't feel the need to put anyone down to elevate yourself. Epictetus said, "What upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about these things." This means that when you know your worth, you don't take others' actions or opinions personally. You're able to engage with people from a place of calm confidence rather than defensiveness or insecurity. This quiet strength is incredibly attractive and commands respect without needing to be vocalized. Consider a scenario where someone criticizes you unfairly. Instead of reacting emotionally or trying to defend yourself, you calmly let it go. You know your worth, and their opinion doesn't define you. This silent confidence speaks louder than any words you could say. Stoicism teaches that true freedom comes from being unaffected by the opinions of others. Seneca said, "He suffers more than necessary, who suffers before it is necessary." By not reacting to every slight or criticism, you show that you value yourself enough to not be shaken by others' judgments. In conclusion, knowing your worth is a powerful way to be valued without saying a word. The Stoics teach that true value comes from within, not from external validation or praise. When you live in alignment with your principles, set boundaries, and carry yourself with quiet confidence, others will naturally respect you. You don't need to say anything. Your worth is communicated through your actions, your presence, and your unwavering self-respect. 3. Act with boundaries. Setting and maintaining boundaries is one of the most powerful ways to communicate your value without uttering a single word. Stoicism teaches that boundaries are essential for maintaining your peace of mind and living according to your principles. When you establish clear boundaries, you send a message to others about what you will and will not tolerate, and you do so without needing to argue or explain yourself. Epictetus said, "Seek not the good in external things, seek it in yourselves." This quote emphasizes the importance of looking inward and defining your own values rather than relying on external approval. Boundaries protect your energy and help you stay aligned with what truly matters to you. When you act with boundaries, you're not being cold or distant. You're showing that you respect yourself and expect others to do the same. Boundaries help create a sense of order and structure in your life, ensuring that your time, energy, and attention are spent on things that align with your values. For example, imagine a situation where someone repeatedly disrespects your time by showing up late or making unreasonable demands. Instead of getting angry or trying to convince them to change, you simply set a boundary. You let them know, either through your actions or a calm statement, that you won't tolerate such behavior. You might walk away from the situation, stop agreeing to meet them under those conditions, or limit your interactions. This silent enforcement of boundaries is incredibly powerful. It shows that you value yourself enough to protect your time and energy. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control others, but we can control how we respond to them. When you set boundaries, you're taking control of your own life without needing to change or fix other people. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Boundaries are a way of exercising this power. They allow you to focus on what's within your control, your actions, your responses, and your decisions, without being overwhelmed by external demands or pressures. A common misconception is that setting boundaries requires conflict or confrontation, but boundaries don't have to be dramatic or argumentative. In fact, the most effective boundaries are often communicated through actions rather than words. If someone crosses a line, you don't have to explain or justify yourself. You can simply take action to enforce the boundary. For instance, if a friend or colleague is constantly disrespecting your time by interrupting your focus, you can create a silent boundary by turning off notifications, closing your office door, or simply walking away when they cross that line. Over time, they'll learn to respect your boundaries without you having to engage in a confrontation. Boundaries are also about protecting your mental and emotional well-being. Stoicism teaches that peace comes from within, and it's up to us to guard that peace. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Acting with boundaries is a form of bravery. It's about having the courage to prioritize your own needs and values, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. This isn't selfishness, it's self-respect. By setting boundaries, you create space for yourself to grow, reflect, and live in alignment with your principles. Others will respect you more because they can see that you're not easily swayed or taken advantage of. One key aspect of acting with boundaries is knowing when to say no. Many people struggle with this, fearing that saying no will make them appear rude or uncooperative. But Stoicism teaches that saying no is an important part of living according to your values. Epictetus advised, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This Stoic teaching reminds us that true fulfillment doesn't come from saying yes to everything, but from being selective about where we invest our time and energy. When you say no to things that don't align with your values, you're protecting your peace and reinforcing your boundaries. Consider a scenario where a colleague frequently asks for your help with tasks that are not your responsibility. Instead of feeling obligated to say yes out of guilt or fear, you can set a boundary by politely declining or redirecting them to someone who is responsible for those tasks. You don't have to explain yourself or feel guilty for saying no. Stoicism teaches that living in accordance with your principles means making decisions based on what's right for you, not on what others expect. By acting with boundaries, you communicate your value without needing to defend or justify your decisions. Acting with boundaries also helps you maintain clarity in your relationships. Whether it's a friendship, a romantic relationship, or a professional connection, boundaries create mutual respect and understanding. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you act with boundaries, you protect the quality of your thoughts by ensuring that your relationships are balanced and healthy. You don't allow others to take advantage of your kindness or overstep your limits, and in doing so, you create stronger, more respectful connections. Another benefit of acting with boundaries is that it helps you stay focused on your personal goals. When you allow others to overstep your boundaries, you become distracted and drained, losing sight of what's truly important to you. Stoicism teaches that we should focus on what is within our control, and that includes how we spend our time and energy. By acting with boundaries, you protect your goals and ensure that your energy is directed toward what matters most. This silent but powerful stance shows others that you are committed to living with purpose, and they will respect you for it. In conclusion, acting with boundaries is a powerful way to communicate your value without saying a word. The Stoics teach us that boundaries protect our peace, our time, and our energy. By setting clear limits and enforcing them through your actions, you show the world that you value yourself and expect others to do the same. You don't need to argue or explain. Your actions will speak for you, and those who respect your boundaries will value you even more. Limit access. One of the most effective ways to be valued without saying a word is by controlling who has access to your time, energy, and presence. Stoicism teaches that we should be selective about what we allow into our lives, including the people we surround ourselves with. Epictetus said, "Keep company with those who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." Limiting access to yourself is not about being distant or unapproachable. It's about recognizing that your time and energy are precious, and not everyone should have the privilege of access to them. When you limit access, you communicate that you value yourself, and that your time is not freely available to anyone and everyone. This naturally increases how much people respect and value your presence. Those who do have access to you will recognize that it's a privilege, and they'll be more likely to treat you with the respect and consideration you deserve. You don't have to say anything to command this respect. It's simply a matter of being intentional about who gets to be part of your inner circle. In a world where constant connectivity is expected, the ability to limit access to yourself has become a rare and valuable skill. Many people feel pressure to always be available, whether for work, friends, or social obligations, and end up stretched too thin. Stoicism teaches that peace comes from within, and part of maintaining that peace is limiting the demands placed on you by others. Seneca said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." By limiting access, you're choosing to spend your time with people and on activities that align with your values and contribute to your personal growth. Let's consider an example. Imagine you're someone who is constantly being asked for favors, advice, or assistance from colleagues or acquaintances. While it's good to be helpful, if you don't set limits on how much access others have to your time and energy, you'll quickly become overwhelmed. By setting boundaries and being selective about who has access to you, you communicate that your time is valuable. This doesn't require you to make any grand statements. It's simply a matter of saying no when necessary and prioritizing your own needs and goals. Limiting access also helps protect your mental and emotional well-being. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control how we allow their actions to affect us. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By limiting who has access to you, you protect your peace of mind from unnecessary drama, stress, or negativity. You're not obligated to give your energy to everyone who asks for it, and by being selective, you ensure that you have enough energy for the things and people who truly matter. Another key aspect of limiting access is recognizing that not everyone deserves a place in your life. Some people drain your energy, disrespect your boundaries, or contribute negativity to your life. Stoicism encourages us to let go of relationships or situations that no longer serve us. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This Stoic wisdom teaches that sometimes walking away from certain people or situations may lead to temporary discomfort or misunderstanding. But in the long run, it's an act of self-respect and self-preservation. In many cases, people feel guilty about limiting access to themselves, fearing that they'll come across as selfish or uncaring. However, Stoicism reminds us that true peace and happiness come from living in accordance with our values, not from trying to meet everyone else's expectations. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Limiting access is about protecting your time from being wasted on activities or relationships that don't contribute to your well-being or personal growth. Consider a scenario where you're always available to take on extra work or social commitments, even when it's at the expense of your own needs. Over time, this can lead to burnout, resentment, and a sense of being undervalued. However, if you begin to limit access by saying no to extra work that doesn't align with your goals, or by politely declining social events that drain you, you send a clear message that your time is valuable. People will start to respect your boundaries more because they see that you respect yourself enough to protect your time and energy. Limiting access also means being mindful of how much you share with others. In Stoicism, self-control and discretion are valued traits. You don't have to broadcast every detail of your life to everyone you meet, keeping certain aspects of your life private and only sharing them with those who have earned your trust adds to the sense of mystery and respect others have for you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." This teaching reminds us that when we limit access to our inner world, we maintain control over what truly matters to us, and we avoid the chaos that can come from oversharing or overextending ourselves. Finally, limiting access allows you to stay focused on what's truly important. By being selective about how you spend your time and with whom, you ensure that your energy is directed toward your personal goals and values. Stoicism teaches that we should live intentionally with a clear sense of purpose. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." By limiting access, you create the space and time needed to pursue your goals without being constantly distracted by external demands. In conclusion, limiting access to yourself is a powerful way to communicate your value without needing to say anything. The Stoics teach us that protecting our time, energy, and peace of mind is essential for living a fulfilling life. By being selective about who has access to you, and by setting boundaries around your time and attention, you show others that you value yourself. This silent yet effective approach ensures that you are treated with the respect and consideration you deserve. 5. Focus on actions, not words. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is the idea that actions speak louder than words. To be valued without saying a word, you must let your actions define you. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This powerful message encourages us to stop talking about our intentions and start living them. People will respect and value you more based on what you do, not what you say you're going to do. When you focus on your actions, you demonstrate integrity and reliability. In a world where people often make promises they don't keep, showing that you can be counted on to follow through with your commitments sets you apart. Whether it's in your personal relationships or professional life, being someone who quietly gets things done will earn you more respect than trying to convince others of your value with words. Actions have a way of speaking for themselves. They reveal your character, your work ethic, and your values. Stoicism teaches us that words are fleeting, but actions create lasting impact. Epictetus said, "First learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak." This reminds us that words should not be taken lightly, but more importantly, that we should prioritize action over endless talking. People who constantly talk about their plans but never act on them are often seen as unreliable or insincere. On the other hand, those who act with purpose, without needing to broadcast their every move, are respected because they let their actions speak for them. For example, consider someone who claims they want to improve their health. They might talk at length about their plans to start exercising, eating better, and getting more sleep. But until they take action, by actually hitting the gym, changing their diet, and prioritizing rest, those words are just empty promises. On the other hand, someone who quietly begins to implement healthy habits without making a fuss about it will be noticed for their dedication and consistency. It's not the words that matter, it's the commitment to action that earns respect and admiration. Stoicism also emphasizes that action is within our control, whereas others' opinions or perceptions are not. Epictetus said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." By focusing on actions, you shift your attention away from trying to control how others perceive you, and instead concentrate on what you can control, your behavior and decisions. When you focus on acting with integrity, discipline, and purpose, people will naturally come to respect and value you, regardless of what you say or don't say. Focusing on actions also builds a reputation for reliability. When you're someone who consistently follows through on commitments, others will trust you without needing constant reassurances. For instance, in a work environment, a colleague who consistently delivers high-quality work on time will naturally be valued more than someone who constantly talks about their capabilities but never delivers. Similarly, in personal relationships, actions like being present, listening attentively, and showing up for others speak volumes about your character. People remember how you make them feel through your actions, not your words. In Stoicism, virtue is not about talking, it's about doing. Seneca wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." This Stoic idea reflects the importance of consistently acting in alignment with your values, rather than merely discussing them. Each action you take is an opportunity to demonstrate who you are. Whether you're striving to be more patient, disciplined, or courageous, it's your daily actions that will reflect these virtues, not your words. Another benefit of focusing on actions rather than words is that it eliminates the need for external validation. Stoicism teaches that we should not seek approval from others, but instead live according to our own principles. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This means that even if others don't immediately recognize the value of your actions, you should continue acting in alignment with your values. Over time, the consistency of your actions will speak for itself, and others will come to respect you for your quiet determination and steadfastness. Consider a scenario where someone is constantly explaining their plans or justifying their decisions to others. This can come across as insecure or needy, as though they're seeking approval or trying to convince others of their value. In contrast, a person who simply takes action without feeling the need to explain or justify themselves is seen as more confident and grounded. Their actions create a sense of respect because they are focused on doing rather than talking. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." This Stoic teaching encourages us to act with integrity, regardless of what others say or do, and to let our actions define us. Focusing on actions rather than words also cultivates a sense of inner strength. Stoicism teaches that we should be indifferent to praise or criticism, focusing instead on living in accordance with our principles. When you act with purpose and integrity, you become less concerned with how others perceive you and more focused on doing what's right. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." This bravery comes from acting according to your own values, not from seeking approval or recognition from others. By focusing on actions, you free yourself from the need to prove anything to anyone, allowing your deeds to speak for themselves. In conclusion, focusing on actions, not words, is a cornerstone of being valued without speaking. The Stoics teach us that actions are more powerful and lasting than any words we could say. When you live in alignment with your values, consistently act with purpose, and let your deeds reflect your character, you will naturally command respect and admiration. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. Your actions will speak for you. 6. Prepare to walk away. One of the most empowering concepts in Stoicism is the ability to walk away from situations, relationships, or commitments that no longer serve you or align with your values. In life, there are moments when the most dignified and valuable thing you can do is simply leave. Epictetus said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This means that clinging to things out of habit, fear, or obligation often keeps us stuck. When you're prepared to walk away, you send a powerful, silent message that you know your worth and won't settle for less than what aligns with your values. Walking away doesn't require an argument, a confrontation, or even an explanation. Often, the quiet decision to remove yourself from a situation that disrespects you or drains your energy speaks louder than words ever could. When others see that you are willing to leave without pleading or seeking their validation, they understand that you value yourself and your peace of mind. This silent act of walking away is not about pride, it's about self-respect and knowing when to protect your well-being. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By walking away, you exercise this power over your own peace. Being prepared to walk away also means that you don't allow yourself to become overly attached to situations or relationships that aren't working out. Stoicism teaches us to be content with what we have, but also to recognize when it's time to let go. This detachment is crucial because it frees you from the emotional turmoil of feeling stuck or dependent on something that doesn't contribute to your growth or happiness. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." By quietly walking away, you embody your philosophy. You don't need to justify your decision to others because your actions reflect your values. Consider a scenario where you're in a toxic relationship or job. You might feel the urge to confront, argue, or defend your reasons for wanting to leave. But Stoicism teaches that silence, combined with decisive action, can be far more effective. Simply leaving without a big explanation shows that you value yourself enough to remove yourself from harmful environments. Seneca said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." Walking away from toxic situations creates space for healthier, more positive influences to enter your life. The ability to walk away also demonstrates strength and emotional independence. Many people stay in situations out of fear, fear of being alone, fear of change, or fear of what others will think. But Stoicism reminds us that fear is often an illusion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Walking away can feel like a barrier at first, but it's often the very thing that sets you free and opens up new opportunities. By being willing to walk away, you show that you are not controlled by fear, but by your own values and principles. Walking away also protects your mental and emotional health. Stoicism teaches that our peace of mind is within our control, and staying in situations that disrupt that peace is a form of self-sabotage. Epictetus said, "If someone tells you that a person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, 'He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned only these.'" This Stoic wisdom reminds us that what others think or say should not determine our actions. When you walk away, you do so because it's the best choice for your own well-being, not because of what others might think or say. In the context of relationships, walking away can be especially powerful. Many people stay in relationships that no longer serve them because they feel obligated to make things work. But Stoicism teaches that the quality of your relationships should be based on mutual respect and growth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "To love only what happens, what was destined, no greater harmony." If a relationship no longer brings harmony into your life, walking away is the best way to honor yourself and the other person. You don't need to argue or convince them. It's enough to simply leave with grace. Walking away doesn't just apply to relationships. It can apply to habits, jobs, and even ways of thinking. For example, if you've been clinging to a certain way of doing things, but it's no longer working for you, Stoicism encourages you to be flexible and let go of what's not serving your growth. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Walking away from habits or desires that no longer align with your values allows you to focus on what truly matters. It's a form of mental clarity that helps you live with intention and purpose. Another benefit of being prepared to walk away is that it helps you stay grounded in your personal goals. When you know that you have the strength to leave anything that doesn't serve your growth, you become more focused on what truly matters to you. This silent strength speaks louder than any words because it shows that you are in control of your own life and decisions. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Walking away is a clear and decisive action that shows you are willing to do what's necessary to protect your peace, even if it means leaving behind what's familiar. In conclusion, being prepared to walk away is one of the most powerful ways to be valued without saying a word. The Stoics teach that walking away isn't about giving up. It's about recognizing when something no longer serves your values, your peace, or your growth. By quietly and confidently removing yourself from situations that aren't right for you, you communicate your self-worth and maintain control over your own life. You don't need to argue or defend yourself. Your silent, graceful exit says everything. 7. The power of saying. No one of the most empowering skills in Stoicism is knowing how and when to say no. While it might seem like a simple word, no carries immense power and can communicate your boundaries, values, and priorities without needing to say much else. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This quote highlights that true power and fulfillment come not from saying yes to everything, but from discerning what is truly necessary for your well-being and letting go of the rest. Saying no is not about being difficult or uncooperative. In fact, it's quite the opposite. When you say no to things that don't align with your values, you are preserving your energy for what truly matters. You are also protecting yourself from overcommitment and burnout. The ability to say no without needing to explain or justify yourself speaks volumes about your self-respect and confidence. Stoicism teaches that our lives should be lived with intention, and part of that intention is knowing when to refuse requests or opportunities that don't serve our greater purpose. Consider the power of someone who knows how to say no. They aren't constantly apologizing or justifying their decisions. Instead, they set clear boundaries and remain firm in their choices. This quiet confidence commands respect. People learn that your time and energy are valuable, and they won't take them for granted. You don't need to say much when you have mastered the art of saying no. Your actions and decisions speak for themselves. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By saying no to things that clutter your life and mind, you maintain the mental clarity necessary to live in alignment with your values. Many people struggle with saying no because they fear disappointing others or being perceived as selfish. But Stoicism teaches us that we are not responsible for others' feelings. We are only responsible for our own actions. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This Stoic wisdom reminds us that we cannot control how others perceive us. If someone thinks poorly of you for saying no, that is their judgment, not your responsibility. By focusing on what's within your control, your actions, you free yourself from the need for external approval. Saying no is also a way to assert boundaries. When you continually say yes to requests, obligations, and demands, you risk spreading yourself too thin and losing focus on what truly matters. But when you say no, you protect your time, energy, and peace of mind. Stoicism teaches that we should guard our inner peace carefully, and that means knowing when to decline things that would disturb it. Seneca said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." By saying no to relationships or activities that drain your energy or disrupt your peace, you create space for the things and people that uplift and support you. In the professional world, saying no can be especially challenging. Many people feel pressured to take on extra work or agree to tasks they don't have time for because they fear appearing unhelpful or unambitious. However, Stoicism reminds us that living according to our values is more important than pleasing others. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." By saying no to work or tasks that don't align with your goals, you demonstrate that you are in control of your time and your career. This quiet strength speaks volumes about your priorities and work ethic, even without saying much. The ability to say no also helps protect your personal growth. When you're constantly saying yes to things that don't serve your goals, you're left with little time or energy to focus on your own development. Stoicism teaches us that personal growth requires intentional effort, and part of that effort involves setting boundaries around your time. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." By saying no to distractions or obligations that pull you away from the present moment, you allow yourself the freedom to focus on what matters most. Saying no can also be an act of self-care. In a world that often values productivity and constant activity, saying no to more commitments can be a way of preserving your well-being. Stoicism teaches us to value our peace and well-being over the expectations of others. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." By saying no to things that waste your time, you're not only protecting your energy, but also prioritizing your health and happiness. You don't need to explain or justify why you're saying no. Your peace of mind is reason enough. Another important aspect of saying no is that it allows you to stay focused on your goals. Stoicism teaches that clarity of purpose is essential for living a meaningful life. When you say yes to too many things, you risk diluting your focus and spreading your energy across too many areas. By saying no to distractions, you keep your energy directed toward your personal or professional goals. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This means that knowing your purpose and sticking to it requires saying no to anything that doesn't align with that purpose. Saying no also communicates self-respect. When you know your worth, you understand that not every request, opportunity, or relationship deserves your time and attention. Stoicism encourages us to set high standards for how we spend our time and energy. Marcus Aurelius said, "To live happily is an inward power of the soul." This means that your happiness and peace come from within, and part of maintaining that inner power is learning to say no when necessary. You don't need to argue or explain. Your silent refusal speaks volumes about your priorities and your values. In conclusion, the power of saying no is one of the most effective ways to be valued without saying much at all. The Stoics teach us that we must guard our time, energy, and peace by setting clear boundaries and refusing what doesn't serve our values or goals. When you learn to say no with confidence and without the need for explanations, you communicate your self-worth and priorities in a way that commands respect. Your actions will speak for you, and others will value your time and energy all the more. 8. Healthy skepticism. One of the key elements of Stoicism is the practice of healthy skepticism. The Stoics believed that we should not blindly accept everything we hear, see, or experience, but instead approach life with a thoughtful and questioning mindset. Epictetus taught, "Don't trust in your perceptions until you've fully considered them." This means that we should question not only the external world, but also our internal reactions and judgments. Healthy skepticism allows you to navigate life with more clarity and wisdom, and it communicates to others that you are a person of discernment without having to say a word. Being skeptical doesn't mean being cynical or distrusting everything. Rather, it's about using your judgment to critically evaluate situations, people, and ideas. When you approach life with healthy skepticism, you avoid being easily swayed by trends, opinions, or emotional reactions. This quiet, discerning nature communicates to others that you are thoughtful and not easily influenced. In a world full of noise and distractions, this ability to pause, reflect, and question what is presented to you naturally commands respect. Consider how easily people can get caught up in emotional arguments or trends without fully understanding the facts. A person who practices healthy skepticism is not quick to jump to conclusions or accept things at face value. For example, in a workplace setting, while others may get swept up in office gossip or hasty decisions, the person with a skeptical mindset will take a step back and assess the situation calmly. This silent pause, this choice to not immediately react, shows wisdom and composure, earning the respect of colleagues and peers without the need for vocal debate or argument. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth." This Stoic mindset encourages us to remain open to new information while maintaining a critical eye. Healthy skepticism is about seeking the truth, even when it requires challenging your own beliefs. This openness to learning, combined with the caution to not accept everything blindly, is a powerful way to demonstrate wisdom without needing to explain yourself. It shows that you're grounded and thoughtful, and others will naturally value your insights and decisions. Healthy skepticism also protects you from manipulation or being taken advantage of. People who are overly trusting or quick to accept things as they appear often fall prey to others' agendas or emotional manipulation. Stoicism teaches that we must be wary of external influences that can cloud our judgment. Epictetus said, "We must not believe the many who say that only free men ought to be educated, but we should rather believe the philosophers who say that only the educated are free." This reminds us that freedom comes from knowledge and understanding, and healthy skepticism is essential for protecting that freedom. In personal relationships, healthy skepticism helps you maintain a sense of balance and perspective. It's easy to get swept up in emotions, especially in romantic relationships or close friendships. However, by practicing healthy skepticism, you avoid idealizing people or situations. Instead, you see them for what they are, without allowing your emotions to cloud your judgment. This doesn't mean you're distant or unemotional. It means that you maintain a level-headed approach to your interactions, ensuring that your decisions are based on reality, not wishful thinking. Seneca said, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." This Stoic teaching reflects the importance of mental resilience and clarity, both of which are cultivated through healthy skepticism. Another important aspect of healthy skepticism is that it helps you avoid unnecessary drama or conflict. Many arguments or misunderstandings arise because people react too quickly to situations without fully understanding them. When you practice skepticism, you give yourself the time and space to reflect before responding. You don't get caught up in petty disputes or emotional reactions because you've trained yourself to question and consider all sides before acting. This calm, measured approach earns you the respect of others, as it shows that you are not easily provoked or manipulated. Let's consider a real-world scenario. Imagine a situation where you're presented with a business opportunity that seems too good to be true, while others may rush to get involved. Someone who practices healthy skepticism will take the time to investigate, ask questions, and carefully weigh the risks. This thoughtful approach, though often silent, speaks volumes about your intelligence and discipline. Others may not understand your caution at first, but when the risks or downsides of the opportunity are revealed, they will respect your wisdom and foresight. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best way to avenge yourself is to not be like them." This Stoic advice reminds us that by acting with integrity and caution, we avoid falling into the traps that others might stumble into. In addition, practicing skepticism helps you build resilience. Stoicism teaches that we should not be overly attached to external events or outcomes. By questioning what is presented to us, we avoid becoming too emotionally invested in things that are beyond our control. Epictetus said, "It is not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of their significance." This Stoic principle encourages us to maintain a healthy distance from external events, allowing us to remain calm and centered even when things don't go as expected. People who practice healthy skepticism are less likely to be disappointed or disillusioned because they've already mentally prepared themselves for all possibilities. Finally, healthy skepticism allows you to stay true to your principles. When you question everything, including your own assumptions, you're constantly refining your understanding of the world and your place in it. This leads to a life of greater integrity and alignment with your values. You're not easily swayed by external pressures or opinions because you have cultivated a clear sense of what matters most to you. Stoicism teaches that we should live with purpose, and skepticism is a vital tool for staying on that path. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." By questioning and reflecting, you avoid unnecessary suffering and stay focused on what truly matters. In conclusion, practicing healthy skepticism is a powerful way to be valued without needing to say much. The Stoics remind us that wisdom comes from questioning, reflecting, and seeking truth. By maintaining a thoughtful, discerning approach to life, you avoid being easily influenced, manipulated, or distracted. This quiet, composed demeanor naturally commands respect, as others see that you are not swayed by external noise. Your actions and choices speak for themselves, and people will value your insight and integrity even without you needing to explain or justify your skepticism. 9. Unconditional love. One of the most profound teachings of Stoicism is the concept of love, not just love for those who treat you well or for those who make your life easier, but unconditional love for all people, including those who may challenge or wrong you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Love the hand that fate deals you and play it as your own, for what could be more fitting?" This quote highlights the Stoic belief that love is not something to be withheld based on circumstances or conditions. Instead, it's a deep appreciation for the interconnectedness of all things and people, and an understanding that every person we encounter has value, even if they challenge us. Unconditional love doesn't require grand gestures or spoken declarations. It's often communicated through quiet acts of kindness, patience, and understanding. When you practice unconditional love, you show people that their worth is not contingent on what they can do for you or how they treat you. This silent but powerful expression of love creates a sense of respect and trust without the need for words. Epictetus taught that we should not be governed by the actions of others, but by our own principles. Loving unconditionally means treating others with kindness, regardless of how they treat you. In many ways, unconditional love is one of the ultimate expressions of Stoic virtue. It's about rising above the petty conflicts and judgments that often divide people, and instead seeing the inherent value in everyone. Seneca said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." When you approach life with this mindset, you don't need to speak about your values. Your actions will show them. People will feel valued and respected simply by how you treat them, even in silence. A key aspect of practicing unconditional love is letting go of judgment. Stoicism teaches that we should not be quick to judge others, as everyone is on their own journey and facing their own struggles. Epictetus said, "When someone is properly grounded in life, They shouldn't have to look outside themselves for approval. This Stoic wisdom reminds us that true love and acceptance come from within, and when we practice unconditional love, we are grounded in our own values rather than seeking approval or reciprocation from others. Loving unconditionally means accepting people as they are, without trying to change or fix them. In relationships, practicing unconditional love can transform the way you interact with others. Whether it's with a romantic partner, a family member, or a friend, showing unconditional love means that you don't place expectations or conditions on the relationship. You don't need to say much to express this kind of love. It's shown through your willingness to listen, to be patient, and to offer support without demanding anything in return. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This Stoic teaching encourages us to appreciate the simple act of being alive and to extend that appreciation to others by loving them without conditions. Practicing unconditional love doesn't mean allowing people to walk all over you or tolerate disrespect. Stoicism teaches that love and boundaries can coexist. In fact, loving someone unconditionally often involves setting healthy boundaries to protect both yourself and the other person. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." This means that while you can control your own actions and how you express love, you can't control how others behave. Setting boundaries while still offering love and kindness is a way to maintain respect for both yourself and the other person. Unconditional love is also about compassion. Stoicism teaches that everyone is doing the best they can with the tools they have, and we should extend empathy and compassion to others, even when they fall short. Seneca said, "Treat your inferiors in the way in which you would like to be treated by your superiors." This golden rule encourages us to practice love and kindness toward everyone, regardless of their status or behavior. When you practice this kind of love, people will feel valued in your presence, even if you don't speak much. Your actions, whether it's offering a kind gesture, listening without judgment, or simply being patient, speak louder than any words. Consider a scenario where someone has wronged you or treated you unfairly. The natural reaction might be to confront them, argue, or cut them off. But Stoicism teaches that the higher path is one of forgiveness and understanding. This doesn't mean excusing bad behavior, but it does mean recognizing that holding on to resentment only harms you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." By practicing unconditional love, you rise above the situation, showing that your inner peace and kindness cannot be disturbed by the actions of others. Unconditional love is also an act of self-love. When you practice this form of love, you free yourself from the need to control or change others. Stoicism teaches that we can only control our own actions and responses, and by letting go of the need to impose conditions on love, we relieve ourselves of unnecessary stress and disappointment. Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." This Stoic wisdom encourages us to focus on what we have and to appreciate the love we can give and receive without trying to force it to be a certain way. In conclusion, practicing unconditional love is one of the most powerful ways to be valued without speaking. The Stoics teach that love should not be contingent on how others behave or treat us. It is a virtue that comes from within. By extending kindness, compassion, and patience to others without expecting anything in return, you communicate your values silently and powerfully. People will feel your love and respect through your actions, and in turn, they will value and respect you without needing to hear a single word. 10. Don't completely center your life around another person. One of the key lessons from Stoicism is the importance of maintaining independence and self-sufficiency in your relationships. While love, friendships, and family connections are valuable, Stoics emphasize that we should not center our entire identity or happiness around another person. Epictetus said, "Attach yourself to what is spiritually superior, regardless of what other people think or do. Hold to your true aspirations, no matter what is going on around you." This teaching highlights the importance of holding on to your own values and aspirations, even in relationships. You must remember that your purpose and identity should not be entirely dependent on someone else. When you don't center your life around another person, you communicate strength, self-respect, and independence without having to say much. People will naturally respect and value you more because they see that you have a life, goals, and principles outside of any relationship. This doesn't mean that you don't care for or love the people in your life. It means that you have a healthy balance, where your well-being is not completely tied to another person's actions or approval. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." This quote reminds us that to truly live, we must pursue our own path, not live through someone else's. One of the risks of centering your life around another person is that it creates dependency. Whether in a romantic relationship, friendship, or even a family connection, relying too heavily on someone else for your happiness or sense of purpose can leave you vulnerable. Stoicism teaches that true peace and happiness come from within, not from external sources. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." By maintaining your own life, your own interests, and your own goals, you demonstrate that you are free, not dependent on anyone else for your sense of self-worth. When you don't center your life around another person, you're able to maintain healthier, more balanced relationships. People respect those who have a strong sense of independence and self-confidence. They value your time and attention more because they see that you are not overly available or dependent on them. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." By quietly maintaining your own life, goals, and values, you embody the philosophy of Stoicism without needing to explain or defend it. Your actions show that you value yourself, and others will naturally value you more because of it. It's important to remember that relationships should enhance your life, not define it. When you center your life around someone else, you run the risk of losing yourself in the process. Stoicism teaches that we must remain grounded in our own identity and not allow external relationships to dictate who we are. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This Stoic principle reminds us that while relationships can be important and fulfilling, they should never be the sole source of our identity or happiness. Consider a scenario where someone invests all of their time and energy into a relationship, neglecting their own interests, friendships, or personal growth. Over time, this can lead to resentment, burnout, and a loss of self-identity. On the other hand, a person who maintains their own hobbies, goals, and social connections while still being present in the relationship creates a healthier dynamic. They don't need to say much to communicate this balance. Through their actions, they show that they have a full life outside of the relationship. This silent strength makes them more attractive and respected by their partner or friends. Another benefit of not centering your life around another person is that it builds emotional resilience. Stoicism teaches that we should be prepared for the ups and downs of life, including the possibility that relationships may change or end. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." By focusing on your own life and goals, you ensure that you have a foundation of strength and stability that isn't reliant on the actions or presence of another person. This doesn't mean that you don't care about your relationships. It means that you are prepared to handle life's changes with grace and resilience. When you maintain your own life outside of a relationship, you also give the other person space to grow. Stoicism teaches that we should not try to control or manipulate others, but instead allow them to be who they are. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." By allowing both yourself and the people you care about to have independence, you foster healthier, more respectful relationships. You show that you value both yourself and the other person. And you don't need to speak much to communicate this. It's shown through your actions and boundaries. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself and others is the ability to stand strong in your own identity while still being open and loving in relationships. Stoicism teaches that true love and respect come from a place of strength, not dependency. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." By not centering your life around someone else, you ensure that your love and care come from a place of abundance, not neediness or fear. This independence allows you to fully enjoy and appreciate your relationships without losing sight of your own values or goals. In conclusion, not centering your life around another person is a powerful way to be valued without saying much. The Stoics remind us that relationships should enhance our lives, but they should never define us. By maintaining your own sense of identity, pursuing your own goals, and allowing others the freedom to do the same, you create a life of balance and independence. This quiet strength speaks volumes, and people will naturally respect and value you more because they see that you are strong, independent, and centered in your own life, even in the context of relationships. 11th, practice virtue. At the heart of Stoicism lies the practice of virtue. To live a virtuous life is to live in accordance with the highest values of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. When you practice virtue, you don't need to speak about your character or your intentions. Your actions will reflect them clearly. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This quote perfectly encapsulates the idea that actions speak louder than words. When you live a life of virtue, people will recognize and respect you without the need for explanations. Practicing virtue means consistently striving to be the best version of yourself, even when no one is watching. It's about doing the right thing because it's the right thing, not because you expect praise or recognition. Epictetus said, "Know first who you are and then adorn yourself accordingly." This Stoic teaching emphasizes the importance of understanding your own values and living in alignment with them. When you practice virtue, you embody your principles through your actions, and people will naturally value you for your integrity and strength of character. Wisdom, one of the core Stoic virtues, means making thoughtful and informed decisions. It's about seeking knowledge, understanding different perspectives, and using discernment in your choices. When you practice wisdom, you don't have to talk about how knowledgeable or intelligent you are. Your decisions will reflect your understanding. People will respect you for your insight and your ability to navigate challenges with grace and clarity. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." By practicing wisdom, you avoid being driven by impulsive desires or unnecessary distractions, and this disciplined approach will command respect. Courage, another essential Stoic virtue, involves standing firm in your beliefs and values, even in the face of adversity. Practicing courage doesn't mean you have to boast about your bravery or seek approval for taking difficult actions. Courage is shown through your willingness to face challenges, make tough decisions, and uphold your principles no matter the cost. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. By practicing courage, you demonstrate a strength of character that needs no words. People will respect you for your resilience and steadfastness, especially when they see that you don't back down from difficult situations. Justice, as a Stoic virtue, means treating others with fairness and respect. Practicing justice is about doing what is right, not for personal gain, but because it aligns with your principles. Epictetus said, "What concerns me is not the way things are, but the way people think they are." This Stoic wisdom reminds us that justice is about ensuring that everyone is treated fairly, regardless of the circumstances. When you practice justice, you don't need to declare your intentions. Your actions will show that you are a person of integrity, who treats others with kindness and fairness. People will value you for your fairness and sense of justice, even without you needing to explain it. Temperance, the final core Stoic virtue, is about exercising self-control and moderation. It's about knowing when to act and when to refrain, and it's the key to living a balanced and fulfilled life. Seneca said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Practicing temperance means that you don't overindulge in pleasures or desires, and you maintain a sense of discipline in all areas of your life. This silent discipline speaks volumes about your character. People respect those who demonstrate self-control because it shows that you are not easily swayed by external temptations or pressures. Practicing virtue in everyday life doesn't require speeches or declarations. In fact, the most powerful expressions of virtue are often quiet and unassuming. For example, a person who consistently helps others without seeking recognition, or someone who stands up for what's right even when it's unpopular, is practicing virtue in its purest form. They don't need to explain their actions because their integrity is evident in everything they do. Stoicism teaches that we should let our actions reflect our values, and when we practice virtue, others will naturally see and respect us for it. Living a life of virtue also means being consistent in your actions. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of living in alignment with your principles, regardless of external circumstances. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This Stoic teaching reminds us that virtue is not about grand gestures, but about daily, consistent actions that reflect our values. When you practice virtue consistently, people will notice your integrity, reliability, and strength of character, even without you having to speak about it. One of the greatest benefits of practicing virtue is that it creates a sense of inner peace and fulfillment. Stoicism teaches that true happiness comes from living in accordance with our values, not from external rewards or recognition. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you practice virtue, you experience a deep sense of satisfaction because you know that you are living in alignment with your principles. This inner peace radiates outward, and others will respect you, not because of what you say, but because of the calm and centered way in which you live your life. In conclusion, Practicing virtue is one of the most powerful ways to be valued without saying a word. The Stoics teach us that wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance are the foundation of a life well lived. When you embody these virtues in your actions, you don't need to talk about your values. Your life will reflect them. People will naturally respect and admire you for your integrity, your strength of character, and your unwavering commitment to living a virtuous life. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Stoic Saga. Today, we explored how you can be valued without saying a single word, using 11 powerful Stoic lessons that emphasize action, integrity, and inner strength. From setting boundaries to practicing virtue, these principles show that your worth is not in what you say, but in how you live your life. Remember, it's your actions, not your words, that will earn you respect and admiration from those around you. If you found this episode helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Saga for more insights into Stoicism and personal growth. Also, feel free to share this episode with your friends and family who might need to hear these empowering lessons today. Until next time, stay strong, stay grounded, and keep living with purpose and integrity.